The Elusive Samurai is a Shonen Jump manga series being adapted by Cloverworks. The plot is about the historical figure Hojo Tokiyuki, the next successor of the Kamakura shogunate. But then Takuji Ashikaga seizes power from the Kamakura, so now he has to escape and evade assassins while finding allies to help him restore his rightful shogunate. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, as soon as I saw the amazing Cloverworks animation and the darker feudal era setting, I was just completely sold. Since they normally work on slice of life and comedy anime, I am really excited to see how they approach Japan's bloodiest era. The animation looks really good, obviously as expected from Cloverworks, but I think a lot of that is due to producer Umehara Shoto, who is good at collecting the right animation talent. He's worked on shows like Bocchi the Rock and Promised Neverland Season 1. If you're a history buff or enjoyed the recent Shogun TV show, I think this is going to be a really interesting watch. Oshinoko, the show about the entertainment industry and all of its dark secrets, is coming back for a second season, and for y'all who are wondering, man, should I just keep watching this show? It kind of got mid as it went on. My answer to that is yes. Okay, I have caught up all the way to the manga, and honestly, the arc that this season 2 is adapting is my favorite arc in the entire story. And since a lot of the key staff, like director Hiromaki Daisuke and Hirayama Kana from the first season, are returning, I am not worried about this season's quality. I'm sure Doga Kobo will continue to elevate the original Oshinoko manga and just make it look amazing. Oh, and come on, make Best Girl happy by pressing the sub button. Delico's Nursery is an adaptation from a Japanese stage play series called Trump. Great timing, by the way.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
Anyway, the plot seems to be about these hot vampire dads who end up taking care of these little kids. The main reason I'm including it here is because the art style is really unique. It has a very gothic feeling that I don't think we see too often in anime. Anyway, the voice actor for the main group of vampire DILFs are all really talented and have worked collectively on shows like JoJo's, Demon Slayer, Gurren Lagann, Bleach, and more. I think this show is really going to be about the atmosphere, and I'm wondering how the studio is planning on adapting a stage play into an anime. Since it's being done by JC staff, you know, if you've watched my Every Anime Studio Part 2 video, you'll know that they're kind of a coin flip when it comes to their animation. And if JC staff lands a heads with this show, I might want to give this guy some head. The Suicide Squad Isekai has me feeling a little confused. On one hand, I really like the idea of Japanese anime getting to play with DC superheroes that have quite honestly gotten pretty boring since the Suicide Squad guys just keep appearing all the time. But the first episode completely hooked me into the idea. You know, with Joker driving this insane piano car, it's honestly kind of hilarious and reminded me why I enjoy anime adaptations of Western franchises like Star Wars and Cyberpunk. But at the same time, I don't care about the DC characters yet, and while Wit Studio has proved themselves in the past to make some really great stuff, this show just doesn't feel like they're at their best right now. Not to say that it looks bad by any means, there's some really good animation cuts, but there's also a few moments where I'm noticing the action is just kind of like, The visuals are good, but the animation or choreography just doesn't feel right, or it's kind of boring. I don't know how to describe it. I have no idea if this is a production schedule thing, since they are releasing another show for this season. Speaking of which, my dear friend Nokotan has already made the rounds of the internet with their viral song and dance. This is another Wit Studio project that just really gives me Nichijou vibes. I mean, I hate the types of anime where the comedy's just the same joke over and over again, which is why when I read the synopsis, I was like, But then I saw the deers. I mean, these guys look like you ripped them straight from a PS2 game. It's so jarring that it just loops back around to being amazing. Obviously, just from the viral memes and the trailer itself, it looks like Wit is going all out on this season particularly. I could probably count on my hand the number of comedy anime that have actually made me burst out laughing, and we'll see if my dear Nokotan manages to get on that list. Wistoria is what I expect will be this season's sleeper hit. On the surface, it seems pretty unremarkable. The story's from a manga from the same author as Danmachi, which isn't a bad story, but I wouldn't say the story is the best part of that show if you catch my drift. But what I really think will set this show apart is the animation. It seems to be a joint production between Actus and Sunrise, directed by Yoshihara Tatsuya. His catalog is insane. He's key animated for shows like Frieren, One Punch Man Season 1, JJK. He's directed episodes for Chainsaw Man and Black Clover. Overall, he is just a stacked industry veteran. Speaking of Black Clover, the plot seems to just rip it off. It's about this guy Will who can't use magic but still wants to be the best magician, so he swings his sword a bunch, and yeah, at what point do we just tell anime protagonists to go into the right school for what they're trying to do. Why are you at a magic school if you're gonna swing your sword? Anyway, I'm not really excited for the plot itself, but I can already feel the love and care that's being given to the actual production itself with just the animation quality. And who knows, maybe they'll even elevate the source material to greater heights. And so that's why I think this show could be a sleeper hit. But if nothing else, I'm sure the fights will slap. Atri, My Dear Moments, seems like a show for my fellow Clannad enjoyers. It's an adaptation of a visual novel that seems to have a pretty good story from the Steam reviews I've read. Before, I'm a man, I could do this. I won't cry to some weebs VN. I cried. The anime studio that's done this has also done an idol anime with hot men and another idol anime with hot men. But the real reason I'm super excited for this show is because Hanada Juki is working on the script for this show. If you don't know, this legend has worked on the script for Steins Gate, The Dangers of My Heart, Plays Further Than Universe, No Game No Life, and much, much more. He's easily responsible for the script for a ton of my favorite anime. And I'm guessing that when given a visual novel that has high Steam ratings and makes people cry, I'm thinking this might be the modern day Clannad. Unfortunately, we don't have KyoAni to do this adaptation, but even though the studio is a bit unknown, the trailer does look like it has some pretty high quality animation, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. So Tower of God Season 1 ended on one of the craziest cliffhangers ever. If you don't remember what happened, let me catch you up. Spoiler warning, by the way. Basically, our main characters Bomb and Rachel meet a bunch of people who are also trying to earn the right to climb the tower by completing a sort of hunter exam, I guess. Near the end, Rachel gets stabbed and is paralyzed from the waist down, which disqualifies her from climbing. Bomb and everyone else decides to take the administrator's special test to take Rachel up the tower. During the test, Bomb and Rachel were in a moving air bubble, and just when they're about to reach the end and succeed, Rachel pushes Bomb out of the bubble. She then tells everyone that he died, but he really didn't, he just fell down. Yeah, that's kind of it. I remember Tower of God's magic system and world building being really unique, and the plot twist back then was so insane that I remember a ton of people were talking about it back in the day, but again, that was like 4 years ago, so I wonder if this season will have the same impact after taking such a long break. One thing I do know for sure though is that Kevin Penkin is back doing the music, and at the very least, I know that this season is going to have some of the best soundtracks ever. The studio that's currently doing season 2 isn't actually being done by the same people who did season 1, but they did help work on the original and did some outsourcing, so we'll see if they can continue the vibes that Tower of God gave us. Giji Harem is not a show about harems. Yes, I know, this show literally clickbaits you with its title, but I've actually read the manga for this, and it's a pretty short and sweet concept about this girl that acts out different character tropes as a sort of pseudo harem for her senpai. It's played off as a joke, but you can tell that underneath she really likes him. It's definitely leaning more into the wholesome and comedy aspect, but what I'm really excited for is the voice actress's work. Hayami Saori is insanely talented. She's voiced Yukino, Shinobu, Yumeko, and even Your Forger. Her vocal range is pretty insane, and I think with this anime we'll get to see her go nuts and just see her play all these different characters. The studio making this is Pony Canyon, which is actually a Japanese music publishing company, so the animation does look a little simple, but the manga is also very simple and lighthearted, so I'm not expecting too much out of this cute rom-com, and that's pretty much every anime this season that caught my eye. If there are any others that you think I missed or I should mention, drop them in the comments below, but other than that, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and peace.